Welcome to the Jinx Jungle Tier List era. The first thing I gotta start off with is yesterday, I was reading Foxdrop's tier list era, and there was something that pissed me off. Not with the list itself, but the comments, where he put Vi up high, and so did I actually. If you go read the tier list, and people were freaking out. Some people, at least, and I'll call those people idiots. They were saying, "Oh, Vi received no changes. Why the fuck is she going up there?" Or some people say, people finally discovered how good Vi is." No, don't be an idiot. The reason why Vi went up in consideration for tier lists or usability in competitive or whatever is because the meta shifted. Other champions got nerfed, items got buffed that favored some champions, and assassins became the meta. Vi is very good with and against assassins. She's always been a one-trick pony. Just when she was released, she had a lot of fucking damage, and so that she could do the whole assassinating thing herself. Now she does a decent amount of damage, and she grabs someone to be assassinated. That's how she functions. Ult somebody, grab them, put them down, everybody jumps and kills that person, bam. Or, conversely, there's an Ahri in the enemy team running around being a bitch. You press your ultimate, you grab Ahri, pin her down, then she dies. No more of that, mobility shenanigans. You grabbed her, she's picked down, and she's dead. She's good against assassins and with assassins. She's good. She has good clearing. She's good sustain. She's got that crap going on. She's got good ganks regardless if there's an assassin or not. Her pre-6 ganks are much to be desired still, yeah, and she's got some issues, but overall she's being brought back into the meta because of assassins, not because someone discovered that she's secretly OP or anything. She's just ended up being strong again in this current meta. That is why she's back, and that's why she went up in tier. With that said, in a similar situation, Xin Zhao also sees himself getting some love. We all know he's a good ganker, we all know his good trades, but in the assassin meta, he's like a poor man's Jarvan and a poor man's Vi. Not necessarily in the whole fact that he sets up an assassination, because he's going to have trouble actually getting, his knockup up, because he requires 3 hits. At most, he'll get 2, and then they'll fly off. Well, the thing he's good at is defending against assassins. They jump in, he presses R, they're all gone. He's like a Janna, but for the jungle. Disengage is important right now, which is why characters like Gragas are also seeing some love. Though the fact is, he's pretty fucking strong regardless, and he can set up kills himself. Because Xin Zhao is just great at dispersing people during fights, and he's just a great all-around character. I've been picking him up again and just saying, holy crap, his damage is ridiculous if you just ignore the machete line, any machete line, and just go Doran's later. Been building them similar to Aatrox, and it's been having really amazing results. That said, he's just, the utility from his ultimate helps against assassins. I've been picking him more because I've been fighting, fucking Rs and Fizzes and everything. They jump in, I press R, and then they're gone. Let's reset the fight and let's go. So I give him credit for that more so than the other choices currently right now. Alright, it's time for Olaf now, and frankly put, I don't like how he feels. Well, for starters, everybody liked going full tank on him, and of course, they said they want to deviate from allowing to go full tank and dealing damage, and they succeeded. I feel like I don't do shit. When I go full offense, I die really quickly. My ultimate doesn't help because the second I run in there, they just butt blast me, and then, I get 1 strike off, then I die. So they're buffing his ability to, deal more damage just by wailing on people in the PvE currently as well. And it's like, I don't feel this is what they should do. It's very hard to balance a champion that can't be crowd controlled when he has his ultimate on, of course. But, they kind of seal the deal. They have to make a champion that can do at least some kind of AD caster role, or at least minor. But right now, his axes feel like crap, and his E's pretty terrible too if you're tanky. I mean, I guess it's good if you have attack speed and you wail on them and then you spam the E. But in this meta, or at least in the game now, because everybody has gap closers and mobility up the ass, you're not going to get a chance to do that before you die. It's like at least Master Yi has an instant gap closer. Olaf doesn't have that. It's like Olaf has no mobility outside of using Ghost and running at somebody or getting lucky with an X hit. It's like everybody else has gap closers. What Olaf had is that he could charge at somebody, they could blast him with everything they had, and he still wouldn't die. Now, if he tries doing that, he'll just die. You can't go. You go offense. Yeah, and if you go offense, you'll at least get to deal damage, but you'll die quicker. If you go defense, you really kind of won't do anything unless you get really, really farmed up. And like the only Olaf I lost to, he was farmed up. The game dragged on to like 15 minutes, and he was a threat because he wouldn't die and he'd get to spam me. But being so late game of a champion is not good for a jungler. His speed is still intact. His sustain is still intact. What qualities he had as a jungler are still intact. But his transition just feels so weird. Like itemization for him just feels confusing at the moment. I don't really know what to build him, and maybe you end up building him as like an Aatrox, or maybe as, you know, Jax with Trinity Force or something. I'm not quite sure yet, and I'm frankly, the new Olaf bores me, so I don't really want to try him as of late. I'm hoping I fight other Olafs, which is I haven't seen other goddamn Olafs except a few. I'm hoping to fight other Olafs, and maybe they can show me some things just by observation. Because right now I kind of don't feel like I can put Olaf in any team and make it work. It just doesn't feel right. At least with Yorick, he went up in the support list. Most because everybody other support kind of really needs to be forced to jungle, the ones that are below him at least. And his ultimate, well, his abilities, they don't count as support abilities. They don't really do anything. I mean, speed debuff, that doesn't really count as too much in removing artificial gold. But they give sight, so that's kind of a useful thing. But his ultimate is where his true quote-unquote supportish abilities come from. It's a massive artificial gold boost for the team because it gives you a second life. Gives you a guardian angel basically for someone who dies. At the same time, while they're still alive, and you use it on an AD carry, of course, it gives you another auto attacker that's blasting the crap out of your opponents. If you use it on the caster or another support or whatever, and they happen to die, they're able to further bolster your teammates or destroy the enemy team with spells after their death. So in a sense, it's completely variable, and by variable I means it depends on who you ult, how much it's worth. But it's more to say, it's more than you can say about the other support junglers that are below him. And again, on Yorick's favor, he can handle the jungle well enough with basic runes, the runes he'd want anyways, with no issues, sustain or whatever. And his ganking is very average. It's just, he handles it better than the other supports. So that's why he gets a boost in the support tier. When it comes to Hecarim, he's fallen out of grace. I mean, I'm probably not the first one to tell you this, but yeah, he kind of really sucks right now. No matter how many times I've tried to play him in lower level or in higher levels or whatever, he just feels weak as fuck. And every time I fight him on the enemy team, I take advantage of him and he doesn't do anything. Like, even if he gets a couple kills, he still tends to fall back because of how badly he's been nerfed. His damage has been lessened. His snowballing potential is worse. His W has been gutted. He just simply doesn't feel right anymore. And remember, he's one of the more selfish tanks, bruisers in the game. He needs gold. He needs to take the kills. He needs to deprive his team of the gold. He needs all the farm. He's a selfish tank bruiser. And that's not exactly good if you can no longer annihilate teams by yourself. So not only is not only isn't he not that strong himself anymore, but he's starving his team and they won't be able to carry. So it's like the kills he's getting aren't being put to the best use, so to speak. So they've just made him all around worse. The selfish tanks can no longer be selfish and succeed. Unless he's, obviously, like everybody else, incredibly fed. And when it comes to Jinx, though, like, if you didn't watch the team battle and me praising her and, you know, laughing with her, you know, glorious comments about her jungling, she's freaking good. I mean, only in the fighters tier, of course. She's pure damage, and they have special rules for themselves. Keep in mind, I gave her more points, like artificial points, than other fighter junglers, because she's range. If she was a melee champion, despite having her utility and whatever, she would probably be lower than Glass Cannons and Zhao and Riven and stuff. But because of the range, she's able to do certain things that these guys aren't able to do. Remember, the fighters tier is with the assumption that all the champions in there are being built glass cannon. Characters like Xin Zhao and Riven and Vi, they can be built glass cannon and they can do certain things, but they tend to explode because they're all in. They go right in, and then they kind of either have to win the fight or die, or they'll probably die even if they win the fight. Anyways, Jinx. The reason why the range gives her the advantage here is because when it comes to transitioning into the full game, the fact like she builds pure glass cannon, that glass cannon will not work against her. She'll be, I mean, unless you don't have a tank in your team and your team doesn't support the fact that you had a jungle Jinx, but that's a different story. Like if you go pure glass cannon as Jinx, you have the range. You just stay at a distance and shoot at people. Like it's pretty much safety. You're a safe character. You're safe going glass cannon, and that speaks volumes in a tier list or a tier bracket that doesn't have a lot of champions with the ability to survive or whatever. Other champions above her like Zed, Kha'Zix, and whatever, they have disengages. They have means to get in, get out kind of thing. So Jinx is one of the very few junglers that are tier 1 in the fighters list without a very strong proper disengage. Though of course her passive technically does count as a disengage, given the fact that Evelyn gets her W back when she kills something. So she actually does have a disengage, even though it's situational. That said, she also has a lot of utility for being a fighter. High damage utility. Her W is ridiculous. The range on it, the fact that it gives you vision, it also slows, and your snares on your E also give you vision, so when you go gank on the side lane, they go into the bush, you can just toss that shit in there. You'll see where they are. You can shoot them from a safe distance. Shoot your W to slow them and give you vision. They can't run. She has too much fucking utility. And just in case they manage to get away with a sliver of health, you aim your ult at them and blow them up. Or you can shoot your ultimate from a distance during a fight somewhere, and you can contribute to a fight as long as you can aim that thing. She clears very quickly. The steroid on her Q is insane. And the fact of the matter is, her attack speed can get so high thanks to her passive on the Q. She can stay at a certain range away from the camps to the point where they get leashed, and because she's able to attack them and reapply aggro, they will not reset far enough to recover any of their health. So she can effectively just farm the jungle from a distance and take a Doran's blade if she needs to, or if she's safe. I mean, or if her team will actually back her up and give her a proper leash or whatever. She's a competent fighting jungler. Whether she's a viable pick is a different story, because most junglers have to be dedicated initiators or tanks or whatever. But in the situation where you will have, like, let's say a top lane Malphite or a top lane Jarvan who's building tanky or something like that, it could be justified to go in jungle Jinx. Of course, you can't duel other junglers because your range and you're pretty much fragile compared to like Lee Sin and Nudir, so you kind of just gotta stay away from other junglers, and if you get jumped, you will probably die, and it does suck that you don't have a second summoner spell because you have to dedicate it to Smite. But she is a competent jungler, as for maybe because she's kind of overtuned a little, but still, it enables her to jungle, and she's currently very fun to play. And I would actually play her in ranked if I owned it on all my accounts, or if people wouldn't be pissed and let me. So as a jungler, she belongs, or she's currently placed in tier 1 for the fighters list. Great character, pretty fucking fun, and her W's really obscene. And she's fucking high damage. Glass cannon is definitely viable on her. Keep in mind that if a jungler was not explained in this video, the explanation for them is in the article itself. So click on the article in the description and head off and read the charts or whatever and get an idea of what I'm talking about.